Do you remember any of the people who were involved in any of those businesses that you worked for between 86 and 89? Defendant's counsel. Objection, Your Honor. Speculative. The court. Overruled. What do you mean, if I remember people? Yes, I remember people. The people in charge of the companies? Yes. Can you tell me who they were? Some of them? Peter Morse. Where was that business? Where was it located in general? Astoria, Queens. During that 3-year period between 86 and 89, was the work that you engaged in generally all of the same nature? Yes, it was. Brickwork. It was pointing. Defendant's counsel. Objection as to form. Plaintiff's counsel. Nothing wrong with the form, Your Honor. The court. Overruled. No, that was more on the ground, if I can explain that. I am sorry. Defendant's counsel. Your Honor, where are we going with this line of inquiry? The court. I don't know, but temporarily I will allow it. The scaffold we are working on is being held on the roof, and the scaffold we are working on is in the air. Most jobs we did, as I remember, were on the ground, more or less. But though doing the same type of work, there was some concrete work and some brickwork. You mean erecting walls and stuff like that? Yes. How did you learn how to do that? Well, I started as a laborer, as a guy who doesn't know anything, and then along day by day you see more and more what other people are doing, and day after day they give you more to do. So you learn from on-the-job experience? Defendant's counsel. Objection. Leading and suggestive, if the court please. The court. Overruled. Basically, yes. Did there come a time, sir, in or about 1997 when you performed some work for Arrow Restoration? Defendant's counsel. Over my objection, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, would you please put a location on it, Counselor? That's a problem to begin with. The court. That's a good idea. Defendant's counsel. Any job with Arrow, you may answer in that term as far as I'm concerned. The court. Go ahead. Yes, we worked with Arrow. In 1997? In 1997, yes. Did you do one or more than one job with Arrow in 97? More than one job. Approximately how many? I don't remember. Was it more than 5 jobs that you were involved with Arrow in 1997? Yes. Was it more than 10? I don't remember that. Did you have a particular person who was your contact at Arrow who you normally dealt with? Basically, we deal with these guys who are brothers. I don't remember their names. Did you know that their duties or titles or positions with Arrow were, at that time, they were co-owners of Arrow Restoration? To your knowledge, was Mr. Geller a co-owner? Yes. And both the other brothers? Yes. And who usually communicated with them? Was it you personally or somebody else? On a daily basis, that was Jack Glenn. While you were operating as Arrow Restoration, sir, did both you and Mr. Glenn work in the field? Yes, most of the time I go on the job. Most of the time you go on the job? Yes. And Mr. Glenn was the guy that got the jobs, is that right? That is correct. These jobs that you performed with Arrow at any time, were they running consecutively, or would you work one job and go to a different site, or what? No, we have a few jobs on at the same time. Would it be normal procedure for you to enter into a written agreement with Arrow for work that you were performing for them? Yes. Did you do a search of the company's records any time before today, you or anyone from K and J, to determine if you had any writing or documentation for any work you did for Arrow in 1997? Any work? Any work? Yes. No. I mean, I did it for this particular job, but for the rest of the job, I never looked for it. Defendant's counsel, I object as not responsive and self-serving, if Your Honor, please. The court, strike it. Listen to the question. So you did a job. I am sorry, you did a search. Did you do it permanently or personally? Yes. Where did you perform the search? Where were you when you looked for the documents? Well, in our office there are some boxes from the previous jobs. Which office are you talking about now? Maspeth Avenue. When was that search made? 2 weeks ago. When did you first become aware of this lawsuit? A long time ago. I would say a year or two. A year or two? That is correct. Were you aware that a claim had been made for some damage at this property before your company was served with any legal process? Defendant's counsel. Objection as to form. The court overruled. I don't know. Do you know or recall your office being served at some point in time with legal papers in connection with this lawsuit? I don't know. So when you first became aware of it 1 or 2 years ago, where was that? Where were you when you found out? Like I said, usually my partner Jack, he does all the paperwork, and then he is like the office man, so he mentioned it to me.